You already know the answer. You already know the words. But before you speak, your brain quietly translates everything first. That tiny pause lasts only a few seconds, but it can keep someone silent for years. Maybe you know this pause well. A question comes. You know the answer in your own language right away. Then you wait and wait, while your brain finds the English words one by one. By the time you're ready, the moment has often already passed. Someone else has already answered, or the conversation has already moved on to something new. You're left holding a sentence that arrived too late to say. It sits there, finished, useless, a few seconds behind everyone else in the room. Here's a place you may know this feeling even better. Watching a show in English, with subtitles. The words move fast. You read them faster than you can listen. By the end of the episode, you feel tired, and you didn't even move from the couch. You tell yourself the subtitles are helping. They feel like support, like something catching you when you fall behind. Here's the strange part. The subtitles aren't really making English easier. Sometimes, they're teaching your brain to translate even more. Your eyes read the words. Your brain turns them into your own language, automatically, without asking. And that habit, reading first, translating second, follows you off the couch, into real conversations too. It's the same habit, wearing a different outfit. On the couch, it looks like reading. In a conversation, it looks like silence, right at the moment someone is waiting for your answer. Two different scenes. One habit, running underneath both of them. So here's the question we're answering today. Why do so many English learners keep translating in their heads? And is there a small way to train your brain to stop? Stay with us. The answer is smaller and simpler than you might expect. Today's habit is small. It only takes a few seconds, and you can use it anytime. There are two other techniques that help with this too. Listening and repeating right after a speaker, something called shadowing, and talking to yourself, alone, with no one listening or judging. Both of those help. We'll come back to them later, near the end of the episode. But today, we go deep into one small habit. It's the fastest way to interrupt the translating pause, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Here's something worth remembering before we start. This habit doesn't teach you new English. It teaches your brain to use the English you already know. That's an important difference. You're probably not missing words. You're missing the reflex, the fast path between a thought and a spoken sentence. Think of it this way. You already own the tools. This habit just teaches your hand to reach for them a little faster, every time you need one. It's a little like a musician who already knows the notes, but needs to practice reaching for them quickly, without stopping to think. The notes were never the problem, the speed was. The same is true for you and English. So here's today's habit, in one sentence. Whenever you notice yourself translating, say one short sentence in English about what you see or do right now. That's it. Not a long sentence, not perfect grammar, just one short sentence about this exact moment. It sounds almost too small to matter, but small, repeated moments, spread through a whole day, train your brain more than one long lesson, once in a while. Let's find out why this small habit is harder than it sounds, and why that has nothing to do with how much English you know. Let's talk about why this is hard. Because it is hard, and that's very normal. This isn't about willpower, and it isn't about intelligence. It's about a pattern your brain has followed for years, quietly, in the background, without you ever noticing it happen. That's worth saying twice. This has nothing to do with how smart you are. Think about ordering food at a restaurant. You know exactly what you want, in your own language, but turning that thought into English, while someone waits for your answer, suddenly feels much harder than it should. You order something simple. The moment passes, and afterward, a quiet thought often follows. I knew those words. Why couldn't I say them? That question can sit with you for the rest of the day, long after the conversation ends. You replay it while you walk home. You replay it again before you fall asleep. Or think about a simple moment with a coworker. A question arrives, and your mind answers it instantly, in your own language. Only then do you start the slow work of turning that answer into English, while the conversation moves on without you. You leave the conversation replaying it. You think of the perfect sentence, the one you knew all along. It just arrived 5 minutes too late, standing alone in an elevator, or walking back to your desk. There's a small embarrassment in that. Not because anyone noticed. Often, no one did. The moment just passed, and you were the only one who felt it slip by. This translating step became a habit. Over many years of learning grammar rules and word lists, one piece at a time, your brain learned English as something separate, something that needs to be built and checked before it comes out. Many people also believe they need to know more grammar, more vocabulary, before they're ready to think in English. But that isn't quite true. The pause isn't caused by a lack of knowledge. It's caused by a habit, a pattern your brain has practiced for years, without you ever choosing it. Here's something worth sitting with. Many advanced learners, who know thousands of words, still feel this same pause. That tells us something important. The pause is about habit, not knowledge. A word you've studied 100 times can still feel slow to arrive. In the moment you need it, out loud, in front of someone. And afterward, that same quiet thought returns. I knew that word. Why didn't it come? There's also a quieter reason, one many people don't say out loud. Some part of you might believe that thinking in English means giving up a little piece of your first language, even just for a moment. That fear can make the pause feel almost protective, like it's keeping something safe. But the pause doesn't protect anything. It just keeps the silence exactly as long as it's always been. Think about a phone call, too, one where you can't see the other person's face. No one is watching you struggle, but somehow the pause feels even longer. Your own language rushes in first, offering a full answer in an instant. English arrives a few seconds later, quiet and a little slower, like it's still finding its way to the phone. You hang up, and the same old thought returns, familiar by now. I knew what to say. It just came too late. This happens to people who've lived in an English-speaking country for years, not just to beginners. The pause doesn't ask how long you've studied. It just shows up, every time, until something interrupts it. None of this means something is wrong with you. This pause is something almost every English learner feels, no matter how much vocabulary they know. You haven't failed, and you haven't wasted time studying. You've just never practiced this one specific moment, the interruption, before today. Let's talk about what's really happening in your brain. When you translate before speaking, your brain thinks in your own language first, then translates that thought into English, word by word. This step takes time, and it happens almost every time you try to speak. This isn't a flaw. It's just the order your brain learned to follow. Translate first, speak second. You've repeated that order so many times, it became automatic. But here's the part worth remembering. That order was never a rule you were born with. You built it, lesson after lesson, year after year. And anything built through repetition can be rebuilt, the same way, through different repetition. That's the whole idea. In one sentence. A quick picture, and then we'll move on. Think about learning to ride a bike. At first, you think about every movement. Over time, your body just knows what to do, without thinking about each part. Speaking English can shift the same way, with enough practice. Now, here's the story worth remembering. A woman decided to try this small habit for a few weeks. Every time she caught herself translating, she said one short sentence in English, about whatever she was doing. Nothing more than that. At first, it felt slow and a little strange. She felt a little silly, saying, "I am walking," out loud to no one. But she kept going. Not perfectly. Some days she remembered many times. Other days, only once. After a few weeks, she noticed something small, but real. Simple thoughts started arriving in English first, on their own, without her reaching for them. She hadn't studied any new grammar during those weeks. She hadn't learned new words. She had just practiced this one small interruption, again and again, in ordinary moments through her day. Nothing about her vocabulary changed. What changed was the order her brain followed. English started arriving a little sooner each week. Translation started arriving a little later, until it barely showed up at all, for simple, everyday thoughts. This doesn't mean grammar stops mattering. This habit just teaches your brain a faster path to English you already have, for everyday thoughts and simple moments. The same thing that happened for her can happen for you too. Not because you're different from her, because the habit works the same way in almost any brain that repeats it. Think about what this really means. Your brain isn't stuck. It isn't missing something it can never get back. It's just running an old order, one it built a long time ago, without ever asking if there was a faster way. That's a hopeful thought, once you sit with it. Nothing needs fixing. Something just needs a new order to follow. And once you know an order can be rebuilt, the whole problem looks a little different. It stops feeling like a wall in front of you. It starts feeling like a habit, waiting for a new pattern to replace it. That's a small shift in thinking, but it changes everything about how you approach the next part of this episode. You're not trying to fix something broken. You're just teaching an old habit a new, faster order. So how do you actually use this habit without it feeling complicated? The answer is something called a word photo. A word photo isn't a story. It isn't a long description. It's just one short sentence that captures this exact moment, like a photo, but made of words instead of light. Think about how a photo works. You don't plan it for hours. You don't perfect it. You just point, and you capture what's already there, right in front of you. A word photo works the same way, except with your voice instead of a camera. You're not trying to say something interesting. You're just naming what's true, right now, in front of you. You're walking. I am walking. You see a bird. I see a bird. You're hungry. I need food. Each one is a small photo of this exact second. Simple, true, and already finished the moment you say it. You don't polish it. You don't check it twice. You just take it and move on. You don't need to build these from nothing. A few short phrases can hold almost any moment. I am, I see, I need, I want. These aren't full sentences you have to construct from zero. They're patterns, small shapes you can reuse, again and again, with anything you notice. You could add a few more phrases to your collection too. I like, I feel, I hear. Each one is a short, ready-made phrase, waiting for whatever moment you're in. Once a word photo starts to feel familiar, it starts to feel natural too. The same way a song feels natural after you've heard it many times. This habit doesn't ask for a fixed time of day. It attaches to a feeling, the moment you notice yourself thinking in your own language first. In that exact second, you take a small word photo instead. Being consistent matters more than doing a lot at once. A few word photos, spread across your day, train your brain faster than one long study session, once a week. You don't need 10 minutes set aside. You just need this one small photo, taken again and again, whenever you notice the pause. So here's your one action, to use whenever you catch yourself translating. Whenever you notice yourself translating, say one short sentence in English about what you see or do right now. Let's walk through a day where this habit lives, start to finish. Before you even get out of bed, you notice the light coming through the window. Your first thought forms in your own language, the way it always does. This time, you catch it early. I see the sun. You wake up and start making breakfast. Your mind reaches for your own language first, the way it always does. This time, you catch it. I am making breakfast. You leave for the bus. You look around at the people near you. Another thought in your own language starts to form. You catch that one too. I see many people. You arrive at work and sit down at your desk. Before you open your laptop, you take one small photo of the moment. I am working. Someone asks how you're feeling today. Normally, you'd think the answer first, in your own language, then search for the English words. This time, you skip straight to English. I feel tired. Or maybe, I feel good. Later, you're waiting for a friend outside a cafe. There's nothing to do but wait, so you take another small photo. I am waiting. At the end of the day, you're washing dishes at home, tired, ready to rest. Even here, one more small photo. I am washing dishes. Each of these is one small photo, taken in a real moment of your day. None of them are impressive. All of them are true. Each time you say one, you turn silent knowledge into active English, the moment it leaves your mouth. Not tomorrow, not after more studying. Right now, in that second. It doesn't feel like a big moment while it's happening. It rarely does. But small moments like this one are exactly what the habit is built from. This is what makes the habit work. Not one big active effort saved for later, but many small active moments spread across an ordinary day. Let's say the action one more time, so it's easy to remember. Whenever you notice yourself translating, say one short sentence in English about what you see or do right now. If the sentence comes out wrong, that's okay. Nobody is checking this. What matters is that you spoke, instead of staying silent while your mind translated. Speaking, even imperfectly, is the whole point. Silence teaches your brain nothing at all. Can you try this the next time you catch yourself translating? I think you can. Let's go back to the beginning, to the couch, and the fast-moving subtitles. One day, something quietly shifts. You catch a sentence with your ears, just before your eyes finish reading it. Just once, at first, then a little more often. That moment doesn't happen because you learned 1,000 new words. It happens because your brain finally stopped waiting for the translation. The same shift can happen off the couch, too. A question comes. You know the answer. This time, it arrives in English, right when you need it, not 5 minutes later, alone, replaying the moment in your head. That shift doesn't need to feel dramatic. It can be as small as one-word photo, said out loud, on an ordinary Tuesday. Over time, quiet and consistent, those small moments add up to something that finally feels natural. You don't need to notice the change while it's happening. Most people don't. They just notice, one day, that the pause feels a little shorter than it used to. Let's remember what we talked about today. Your brain translates first, because it's a habit, not because you lack knowledge. A word photo is one short, true sentence about this exact moment. Saying it out loud, again and again, slowly trains a faster path to English you already have. Being consistent, a little, many times a day, matters more than one long session. Now let's slow down and review our key words. Translate means to change words from one language to another. A phrase is a small group of words used together, like, I feel tired. Natural means it feels easy, not forced. A pattern is a small sentence shape you can reuse, again and again. Active means you actually use it out loud, not just remember it silently. Consistent means doing the same small thing, many times, even in small amounts. And shadow, or shadowing, means listening to English and repeating it right away. We didn't go deep into shadowing or talking to yourself today, but they work well alongside this habit, whenever you're ready to add them. Shadowing trains your ear. Talking to yourself trains your voice. This habit trains the moment in between, where a thought becomes a sentence. For now, just one small photo, whenever you notice yourself translating. If this habit feels helpful, come back tomorrow and try another small step with me.